In this video, we're going to be solving quadratic equations and inequalities. In number 1, when we start simplifying, multiply through by x, and we see we have a quadratic equation. So let's do that. Let's multiply through like this and like this. So we have 2x squared minus x is equal to 6. Let's put this in standard form. Bring the minus 6 over to the other. Bring the 6 over to the other side as minus 6. So we have 2x squared minus x minus 6 equals 0. Now we always see if we can factor first. Our strategy for quadratic equations is try factoring, and if that doesn't work, then we'll use the quadratic formula. All right, so here we put 2x times x to get the 2x squared. And we see that because this is negative, we know that our signs will be different. We might switch that to minus plus, but for now we'll have plus minus. And we know that this times this is going to equal 6. So we'll try 3 times 2 or 2 times 3. Now I'm not going to put the 2 here. If I put a 2 over here, then a 2 can factor out. And I know a 2 doesn't factor out of our quadratic, so I'm going to try 3, 2. All right, always have to check the middle term. That is 3x minus 4x, and we get minus x. Okay, so we don't have to switch signs. That's good. Now take the two factors, and we'll set each one equal to 0 and solve. So we have 2x plus 3 equals 0. That's 2x is equal to minus 3, and x is equal to minus 3 halves. So that's one solution. For the next one, set factor x minus 2 equal to 0. Add 2 to both sides, and we have the second solution, x equal 2. Most quadratics have 2 solutions. Number 2, we have a quadratic that is missing the constant term, or that is the constant term is equal to 0. In that case, we can always factor out an x. So that's the way we factor this type of quadratic. Just pull out a factor of x. So let's do that. So here we have x outside parentheses and 7x minus 3 equal to 0. And now we'll just set each factor equal to 0. So that is set x equal to 0. And by the way, that's one solution. And 7x minus 3 equal to 0. That 7x is equal to 3. And x is equal to 3 over 7, and that's another solution. In example 3, at first glance, this might not look like a quadratic, but once we cross multiply, we see we do have this x squared term. So let's cross multiply. Let's first do x times 3x plus 13 is equal to 5 times 2 is equal to 10. All right, multiply through, and we have 3x squared plus 13x is equal to 10. Now bring the 10 to the other side. That is, subtract 10 from both sides. And we have 3x squared plus 13x minus 10 is equal to 0. All right, and now let's just try factoring. First times first has to equal 3x squared, so we'll go with 3x times x. This is negative, so signs are different. We'll try plus minus. And now we want two things. We fill in with two numbers whose product is 10. Like we can try 5 times 2. One is positive, one is negative. All right, if we put the 5 here, we'll be up to 15, which is close to the 13. So let's try that. Here we have 2x. We must check the middle term, 2x. And here we have minus 15x. So that sums to minus 13x. Now, that has the wrong sign. Here we have positive 13x. So what we're going to do is switch these symbols, these signs. So we'll change this plus to a minus, and we'll change this minus to a plus. And we'll go with this one now and this one. So the correct factorization is 3x minus 2, x plus 5. All right, so let's now set each factor equal to 0. That's 3x minus 2 equals 0. 3x is equal to 2. X is equal to 2/3. That's one solution. And now here x plus 5 is equal to 0. And x is equal to minus 5. So that's our second solution. Number 4 is of a special form. I call this something squared is equal to a number. Now here this something might contain x's right here. The number, however, doesn't. That's just a constant. And that's what we have here, an expression with x's squared equal to 7. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take the plus minus square root of both sides. We actually only take the square root on the x side, and on the number side we do the plus minus. So square rooting the left, we have 2x plus 5. And on the right, we have plus minus square root 7. And now we're going to take the 5 and bring it to the other side as a minus 5. So we have 2x is equal to negative 5 plus or minus square root 7. And now divide by 2. Okay, and there's our solution. In number 5, we're told specifically to solve by completing the square. All right, so let's do that. The first step is take the constant and bring it over to the right. So we have, let me just write x squared minus 10x minus 2 equals 0. So step 1 is add 2 to both sides. And that gives us x squared minus 10x is equal to 2. And now I'm going to fill in with 2 blanks, getting ready to add half the middle term squared here and here. Half of 10 is 5. Squared is 25. So we add 25 to both sides. When we do that, the left will be a perfect square. So we factor it like something squared. Okay, that would be an x here. Here the square root of 25 is 5. That goes here. And since we have a negative in the middle, we have a negative there. And on the right we have 27. So we're almost ready to solve. Just square root both sides. And we have x minus 5 equal. And don't forget the plus minus on the right, on the number side. Bring the 5 over. Bring the minus 5 over as a 5, and we have x is equal to 5 plus or minus the square root of 27. Number 6 is a type of problem that we've done in class, and you should recognize the wording, and that what we're being asked to do here is simply to complete the square. So we're going to complete the square of this quadratic. All right, let's start by adding 1 to both sides. And we have x squared plus 6x is equal to 3. And now fill in with blanks. Half of 6 is 3, squared is 9, so we add that to both sides. Here's our perfect square. And factor that as a perfect square, so that would be an x. Square root of 9 is 3, goes here, and everything is positive. And then on the right we have 12. So that's what we were looking for, this number 12. All right, so we see that x plus 3 squared is equal to 12. So that's our solution, just the number 12. Here we want to use the quadratic formula to solve these two quadratics. All right, first of all, let's write down the quadratic formula. Let me write it here. So we have negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. All right, let's do a. So here we have negative b. I'm just going to put parentheses instead of all my variables. Negative b plus or minus, there's a b squared minus 4ac over 2a. This method helps, especially when we have some negative coefficients, and here we do. We have a negative 5 and a negative 1 here. So b is negative 5, so a negative 5 goes right into that set. Here's a, that's 3. I'm sorry, this is b. That should be b, 1 second. B again minus 5 right here in the parentheses. AC, so here we have 3, and here we have minus 1. 2a, so here we have 3. All right, so let's just simplify this. This is a 5. And under the square root, minus 5 squared, that's a 25. And here we have 4, minus 4 times 3 times minus 1, 2 minuses, so we're going to get a plus 12 over 2 times 3 over 6. All right, let's just add what we have in parentheses over here, and we have 37, 25 plus 12. And those are two solutions. Let me mention that this quadratic can't be factored because our solutions contain a radical. All right, let's go to B now. So we have x equal, let me put x equal over here as well. Okay, x equal, and I'm going to rewrite the quadratic formula with parentheses, negative b plus or minus the square root, b squared minus 4ac. Here it's not as necessary because we have all positive coefficients over 2a, but just out of habit I'll do that. All right, so you put the b right in here, that's a 1. The b goes here, a goes here, and c goes here, and a goes here. All right, let's start simplifying. Minus 1 plus or minus the square root. 1 minus 4 times 2 times 10, that's 80. 1 minus 80 over 4. So that's minus 1 plus or minus the square root, minus 79 over 4. Well, since we have a negative under the square root, we conclude that there's no real solution. The square root of a negative number is not a real number.